Here's something that is going to completely change how you think about money. Most people tend to go through their entire life making random financial decisions. A little saving here, some investing there, paying off debt when they feel like it. But I've discovered a framework called the Financial Order of Operations, or FOO, and this thing is like having a GPS for your money. So instead of just wandering around lost, you're going to know exactly where you're going and the fastest route to get there. What's up, everybody? I'm Rashida, and I help people to make smart money moves. I started investing at the age of 17. I've grown that portfolio to 7 figures, and I managed to do this all on a police officer salary. So I'm on a mission to show you that you can get there too. So let's go. So here's the thing. Most of us were never taught how to prioritize how we make decisions about money. Should you be paying off your debt first or start investing? Should you build that emergency fund or should you contribute to your 401k? Save up for a house or max out your retirement accounts? And so these are the type of questions that keep people stuck for years. And I know this because I've been there myself. I'd read one article telling me it's so important to pay off all of my debt first. Then I'd read another saying that I've got to start by investing. And so with all of the information out there, it can be like getting directions from 5 different people to the exact same destination. But I learned about a system that wealthy people have been using for decades. It's called the Financial Order of Operations, or FOO, and it answers the question of what I should do with my next dollar. And I want you to think about this like building a house. You wouldn't start with the roof, right? No, you would start with building the foundation first, then the frame, and then everything else in the right order. And so that's exactly what this system does, but for your money. Now, if you're ready to take a look at this system, do me a huge favor, type FOO down in that comment section to let me know you're ready, and let's dive in. Now, before we dive into each step, let me give you the big picture using something that we can all understand: building a house. First up is the foundation, because this is going to be your financial safety net. And so this is going to include things like covering emergencies, getting free money from your employer, and stopping money leaks like credit card debt. Now, without this foundation being laid, everything else that you build is going to be shaky. The frame of the house is going to be your retirement accounts. This is where you're going to start building real wealth for your future. And so this is going to be the structure that everything else hangs on. Now, as we look at doing the finishing touches on the house, those are going to be your more advanced strategies, okay? So extra investing, saving for very specific goals, or paying off that low interest debt early. Now, these finishing touches are going to make your financial house beautiful, but only after that foundation and frame are solid. And the beauty of this system is that each step is going to make the next step easier and more powerful. Step 1 is going to be to cover your deductibles. And this one seems simple, but it's crucial. You're going to want to make sure that you have enough cash to cover your highest insurance deductible. And so if your auto insurance has a $1,000 deductible, you need to make sure you have at least $1,000 safe somewhere. And if something like your health insurance has a $2,000 deductible, you need to make sure you have that on hand at all times, because stuff is always going to happen and you don't want to have to go into debt to deal with it. Step 2 is going to be to make sure that you get your full employer match. If your job offers a 401k match, this is money that your employer will give you without doing any extra work for them, okay? And so for instance, if your employer is offering a match of 50% of your contributions up to 6% of your salary, and you're not contributing at least 6% to that 401k, you are leaving very serious money on the table. And so here's how I like to explain this to people. Imagine your boss walked up to you every payday and said, "Hey, for every dollar that you put in this box, I'm going to give you 50 cents. I'm pretty sure that you're going to stuff that box as full as possible, right? And that is exactly what an employer match is, okay? And while you may think that it's only a couple $1,000s a year, over time, this has massive implications for your wealth, okay? Because if you're getting the full employer match and it grows over a period of your working life, that is going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? So you do not want to leave that on the table. All right, now step number 3 is to focus on trying to pay down any high interest rate debt that you have. So that's going to be things like your credit cards, personal loans, or any sort of loan that you have out there with a higher than 10% interest rate, okay? That needs to go. And so for some people, that's also going to include things like a auto loan, okay? You have some people paying 15, 16% interest for their vehicle loan. You gotta get rid of that as soon as possible. Things like private student loans, those can be anywhere from 10 to 20% nowadays. It's insane, and you don't want to have that hanging over your head because it's going to be a lot harder for you to build wealth. And taking care of this is going to be like plugging holes in a leaky bucket, because when you're drowning in high interest rate debt, no matter how much money you try to put into that bucket, it's going to leak out through those holes. And so I'm not talking about things like your mortgage, okay? Just the expensive debt that is bleeding you dry. And so commit to attacking this debt aggressively, because every single dollar that you're paying in credit card interest is a dollar that cannot grow for your future. All right, now step 4 is going to be to build your emergency fund, okay? This is your sleep well at night fund. So try to save 3 to 6 months of your basic living expenses. And so with these funds, we're not talking about your current spending. We are talking about the bare bones basics: keeping a roof over your head, making the minimum payments on any debt that you have out there, rice and beans, survival expenses. This is not a fund for vacations and Christmas gifts and all of your subscriptions and things like that. This fund is exclusively for when life punches you in the gut. We're talking job loss, major medical emergency, or a major car repair, things like that. Now, when you're able to get this fund established, and it could take some time, this is something that you build over time. It's not going to happen in a month or two. This could take years for some people, but when you're able to do it, you stop living paycheck to paycheck, and you're going to live with a lot more confidence. Now, here's what's amazing. Once you have completed these 4 steps, you've already done more than 70% of people ever will, and you would have built a foundation that most people will never have. All right, now let's move on to our next phase. But before we do, please take a second, look down, see if you have subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, please consider doing so. I'm here every single week to help you better understand the world of money, and I give you actionable steps on how to turn your income into real wealth. So please do me that favor. All right, now let's dive into the next phase. All right, now that your foundation is solid, let's start building real wealth. Step 5 is going to be to max out a Roth IRA and an HSA if you qualify. Listen to me, a Roth IRA is like having a magical retirement account, okay? When you put the money into this account, you've already paid taxes on it. But the beauty is this thing gets to grow tax-free for decades. And when you retire, you're taking all of that money out tax-free, which means you don't have to pay any taxes on all of those gains that you accumulated over the years, okay? This is one of the best deals that the government is ever going to give you on taxes. And now if you're eligible for an HSA or health savings account at work, you want to make sure you max that thing out too, because if your IRA is magical, the HSA is like a freaking unicorn, all right? Let me explain why. This is an account that is triple tax advantage. That means when you put money in, you get a tax deduction now, okay? It grows tax-free, and when you get ready to take the money out in retirement or for medical expenses, that is also not taxed by the IRS. There is no other account on the planet in the United States of America that is going to give you a triple tax advantage. And on a side note, that is a clue that our healthcare system is really, really jacked up. They want people to be able to pay for their medical expenses because they're so out of control. Now, if you want to know more about HSAs and want me to do a video on it, let me know down in the comment section. Now, I want you to think of both of these accounts as your personal wealth building machines. And the earlier that you can start feeding them, the more powerful they can become. All right, now our next step is going to be to max out your employer's plan, okay? Because remember that 401k where we said we want to at least get the match? Now that we have maxed out that IRA, we're gonna go back and completely fill up this 401k bucket, all right? Now, as of 2025, that means you can contribute up to $23,500, okay? And if you're over the age of 50, you can do what's called catch-up contributions. The government is going to allow you to put in up to $31,000 in your employer's 401k in a single year. And this is where the magic of tax-deferred growth is really going to kick in, because every single dollar that you put in is going to reduce your current taxes, and it's going to grow without being taxed until you retire. And if your employer offers a Roth 401k, that needs to be your focus. So check with your HR department and see if that is something that's offered. I'm lucky enough where my employer offers that, but some people that I work with don't take advantage. Remember, Roth over everything, okay? Now, by the time you complete step 6, congratulations, because you are officially in wealth building mode, because you are saving and investing a significant portion of your income income, and compound interest is starting to work its magic. All right, now we're moving into our final phase. At this phase, you're not just saving for your retirement anymore. You're building wealth that can give you real options. Maybe you're someone that wants to retire early. I know that is my personal goal, okay? Or maybe you're someone that wants to start a business. You want to have your finances in order if you're going to leave your job to start a business, okay? Or maybe you're just someone that wants to have more financial freedom. And so when I say options could look something like this. Maybe you decide you have enough money to the point where you can get a less stressful job that pays a lot less, okay? That gives you more flexibility, options, time off with your family. Those are the options that can open up to you when you've got your financial house built. Now, step number 8 is saving for future expenses. So now you're going to start saving for the big things that you know are coming. That could be anything from saving for your kids' college education, a down payment on a house, a dream vacation to Europe, whatever you want it to be, okay? And so if it's a plan that you have out in the future that you know is going to be expensive to achieve, you can start saving for that at this point. And the key word here is known expenses. So you're not guessing or hoping, you're actually planning for these things and know that you'll want or need them in the future. And finally, if you want to, you can start to pay off your mortgage or any other low interest rate debt early. Notice I said if you want to, because the truth is at this point, you are in such great financial shape that this is a lot more about personal preference than financial necessity, because some people really love that feeling of being completely debt free, while others are going to prefer to keep investing and let their money grow. And to be honest, in my opinion, both choices are completely fine when you've made it this far. Now that we've covered all of those, I know what some of y'all are thinking, but Rashida, what if I don't have an employer match? Or what if I can barely afford step 1? Well, here's the great thing about this system. It's a GPS, okay? It is not a rule book. If you can only manage to save $25 a month right now, that's okay. Start there, because progress beats perfection every single time. Guys, I have made tons of mistakes over the years, but no matter what, I kept going, okay? That is the most important part. Be consistent in whatever you're trying to achieve, no matter what curveballs are thrown your way, no matter what happened to me with jobs, pay, bills, I never stopped investing. Okay. And so my point is, the goal is not to do everything perfectly from day one. I started young, but that doesn't mean that I was doing everything the way I was supposed to back then. Okay. The entire goal of this system is to know exactly where you're heading and how to take the next step. I have seen so many people transform their financial lives just by focusing on one step at a time. So just start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a look at the 9 steps and honestly assess where you are. Don't judge yourself. That's not what this is about. Just figure out what your starting point needs to be. And so if you're on step 1, then focus on your small emergency fund, okay? And if you're at step 4, celebrate that you have built an amazing foundation and start looking at those retirement accounts. The key is focus on one step at a time. Don't try to do everything at once, because that's going to overwhelm you and cause you to quit. Remember, this is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Every dollar that you allocate using this system is a dollar that is working toward your financial freedom. I need you to understand that. Now, this system helped you to see money just a little bit differently. Make sure you check out my next video. And please drop a comment below and let me know which step that you are working on right now. Are you building that foundation? Are you activating growth mode? Or are you someone that is accelerating their wealth building? I read all the comments and I cannot wait to see what everyone says so I can cheer you on. Now, if you are still here at this point in the video, you are my people. Do me a huge favor, drop a fire emoji down in the comment section, because we are blazing a path to your financial future. It gets me so excited. Thank you guys so much for being here. Again, I'm Rashida and I'm out.